informing my PhD study. So I'd done some work on the API to determine what that was telling me, and my determination of that was it was pretty random. So then for a new 4-month period, at sort of 5-day intervals, I extracted data from YouTube. At the time, YouTube highlighted itself as having 23 main categories. For some reason, I only used 22 because music, for some reason, would not work with the webometrics analyst. So all the other categories at the time were giving me the metrics for that data, but for music, for some reason, when I was doing the search for that category, it just wouldn't, there was no, it was showing no videos and no metrics. Yeah, so with the data searches, because YouTube changed their API system, I actually had to do 2 searches per day. The first search, I used webometrics analyst, and I got approximately 500, because that's all it will give you, 500 video identification numbers. Nothing else. It wouldn't give at that time the information for those videos. I then had to take those identification videos and do a second search that day to get the metrics. That I needed. So I had to do 2 searches per day. I then took that data and I entered it into Excel spreadsheets. Overall, I was finding about that average amount of videos by the end for each category. What I then had to do was remove the duplicates, right, because I didn't want the same information for the same videos. And this left an average across the different categories of approximately 5,500 videos for each category. Okay. So this was the amounts of videos I found. So all the duplicates were removed. It was interesting to note that news had the highest percentage of unique videos. So there was less duplicates in that sort of the percentage of videos found. Now that to me suggests, because the news is always changing and more videos will be entered into YouTube, it gives a greater possibility for a greater variety of videos. Whereas with something like non-profit, and you'll see that non-profit has got some quite low metrics through all of this, didn't get, it's got a high amount of duplicates, which suggests that there isn't a great turnover in the number of videos that are presented into that category. In terms of the averages, I want to talk to you about the totals of videos. Okay. As we said before, non-profit got low, news has got high. In terms of processing the data, I had to, it gave me massive amounts of detail and metrics for these videos. I had to extract these things that I wanted. I needed the likes, I needed the dislikes, I wanted the comments, I wanted the view counts, the length of videos. The length of videos, you just get the original date that it was uploaded, so you then have to convert that into the time frame that you wanted. So, the results. What I did was, I found the average view counts for each of the categories. And it showed that from TV and best of were the ones that got the highest amount of views, and automotive and non-profit the lowest. However, what I thought was it was better to do it on a views per day, so the average views per day, to see what people are actually watching. Because it's no good a video being there for 2 days and having 1 million views, and then something being there for 4 years and having 1 million views. It's a different scenario. Again, we can see that non-profit, automotive, even politics and education are quite low on the average views per day. The interesting thing, going back to the research about entertainment, funny videos, fails, we can see that we've got quite a high number of people watching how-to videos. Sort of DIY, how to fix something, how to do your makeup. And this sort of goes in line with particularly the blogs that we've got at the moment talking about how to do makeup. So I found that quite surprising. Because lots of the research hadn't said that the previous research hadn't said this, it was interesting to see that. And actually my father, who is only just coming into the world of YouTube, that's what he uses it for. He doesn't have to call a plumber anymore. He looks it up on YouTube to save himself a £70 call-out fee. So he really loves YouTube. Then what I did was, I looked at dislikes per day, which areas were maybe invoking the most amount of passion or interest from people. Likes per day is always, the likes are always a lot less. Sorry, the dislikes, are always a lot less than the likes. So it would seem that people generally are happier to comment about something if they like it rather than dislike it, is what my research and the metrics show. I also looked at comments per day, and again, how to is up there, and I feel that this is people commenting on the relevance or how useful a video is in terms of does it actually say what it says on the tin. We've also got gaming as well. Some people might say that gaming could fall into the how-to category because gaming tends to be a lot of people giving suggestions, tips and advice in terms of playing online games. I looked at dislikes per view and likes per view, but these were very, very small averages based on the number of videos I got. The last thing was comments per view, and we have quite a shift here, because all of a sudden, politics and causes have raised up to the top. So it shows that maybe these areas, politics and causes, are the areas where people want to have a greater level of debate or are accessing issues where they want to sort of comment on it. So my conclusions, I think I've run through them. A lot of people are accessing things from TV. So I think a lot of people are accessing their favourite TV shows, maybe at work, maybe on the move. But there was a very small amount of actual debate in that. So I think they're very passive users of from TV. And we've got the self-improvement. Non-profit and automotive have shown themselves really to be quite niche areas with not a lot of traffic and not a lot of popularity really with users. And on average, people tend to like videos more than they are prepared to say that they dislike them. Further research, and I'm almost finished, I felt that although I'd got all of this data and all of the numbers, I hadn't got the human element as part of my study. So I talked with Mike, and what I've done is I've put together a questionnaire which I've sent out. I haven't processed it yet, but I sent a questionnaire for 4 weeks. I've used a convenience sample of a representative group, so people who I know who are accessing YouTube. And I got a response rate of 532 out of the 660 questionnaires that I sent out. I did over a 4-week period. So I got an 81% return rate on that, which was quite good. And I've now got to process that data. So it's a project that's still going, but I was quite surprised to find out how to was there. Thank you very much.